The next set of problems that we're going to go over have to do with the 30, 60, 90 triangles. So we're going to start with number 8. So we're having to find the length of x and y. So I'm given that it's a 60-degree angle, which means this angle here is 30 degrees. Again, I'm going to start by setting up my ratio of my angles, so 30, 60, 90. Then I'm going to set up the ratio of the sides, x times the square root of 3, and 2x. So the side that I know about is opposite of the 60-degree angle, so that is 36. So 36 is going to go with the x times the square root of 3. And I'm going to set up my equation. X times the square root of 3 equals 36. So to get x by itself, we are going to divide both sides by the square root of 3. So x equals 36 over the square root of 3, but also we know that we're not allowed to have a square root in the denominator, so we're going to rationalize the denominator by multiplying the top and the bottom by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. When I do that, I get 36 times the square root of 3 divided by 3, and 36 divided by 3 is 12. So 12 times the square root of 3 is what my x is. Now it's not the same x that's in this problem here, okay? So now I know that x, well, it is the same x, is 12 times the square root of 3. Then I also know that if I double that, then I'm going to get my y. So 12 times 2 is 24. So y is 24 times the square root of 3. So x is 12 times the square root of 3. Double that. Whoops. Double that. So 12 times 2 is 24. 24 times the square root of 3 is the length of the hypotenuse. Okay, so let's take a look at number 10. Number 10 is also a 30, 60, 90. So I'm going to fill in my missing angle. And again, set up my ratio, 30, 60, 90, x times the square root of 3, and 2x. So set up your ratio of your angles followed by your ratio of your sides. So in this situation, the segment that I know about is the 90-degree segment. So 21. So 2x equals 21. To get x by itself, divide by 2. And so now x is equal to 21 over 2. Or you can write it as a decimal, 10.5. So the length of x, my 30-degree side, is 10.5. And so the 60-degree is going to be 10.5 times the square root of 3. So x in this problem is 10.5. Y, which is the opposite of the 60-degree, is 10.5 times the square root of 3. So now let's take a look at numbers 14 through 17. So 14 says an equilateral triangle has a side length of 14. Find the length of the altitude. So we know that this length is 14. The altitude is the height of the triangle. So when you drop down a perpendicular segment, it creates that right angle, and that's your altitude, and that's what you're trying to find. So again, I'm going to set up my ratio, 30, 60, 90, and my right angle, oh sorry, then next I'm going to do my segments. So x times the square root of 3, and 2x. So my right angle is the one I know about. If I have a side length of 14, that's the opposite of the 90-degree angle. So 2x equals 14. Half of 14 is 7, so x is 7. So remember that half there? So there's the 7, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the altitude, which is going to be 7 times the square root of 3. So what's the length of the altitude? 7 times the square root of 3. Number 15. So in number 15, we're trying to find the length of x. So we've got 30, 60, 90, x times the square root of 3, and 2x. And so the 2 times the square root of 3 goes with the 60 degree. So in this one, notice how my square root of 3's map up with each other, and notice how my x matches up with my 2. So I don't even have to do any work for this one. I know that x has a value of 2. If I wanted to set up an equation, I can. X times the square root of 3 is equal to 2 times the square root of 3. And what you're going to find out when you divide both sides by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3, your square root of 3's cancel out, leaving you with x being equal to 2. So 2 is going to go here, x is 2, and then I'm going to double that 2, so my other side is going to be 4. But the only side that we needed to find out was the 30-degree side, and it has a length of 2. So then now number 16. So in number 16, again 30, 60, 90. So we're going to set up our ratio of our angles, 30, 60, 90, x times the square root of 3, and 2x. And the side length that I know about is the 30. So, hey, guess what? My work's been done for me. X is 4. So then now the missing is going to be 4 times the square root of 3, and then double that 4, so 8. So which one do they want? They want, in this situation, the side opposite of the right angle, so they want the 2x side. So hey, guess what? It is 8. Okay, and then now the last one that falls in this category, number 17. So 30, 60, 90. X times the square root of 3, 2x. The side length that I know about is my 30-degree side, which is 7/8. And you know what? Even though it is a fraction, the one that we're trying to find is going to be double that because it's the 90-degree. So if I double 7/8, so 7/8 times 2, is 7/4. So what's the value of x? The value of x is 7/4.